Alright, look, I know it's been a while. If this upload were any later, it would technically be a historical documentary. Life happened and I've been buried in some top secret project and I'm not ready to show y'all yet, but no, the grind has been really real. And honestly, I just needed to make sure the script didn't sound stupid. Thanks for sticking around though, for real. The fact that you guys haven't unsubscribed while I was lost in this digital void means everything to me. But we're back. Let's talk about the era that raised a generation, including me. It's 2012, you just got home from school and your backpack is on the floor and you're ready to lose yourself in the glow of the screen. This was the time before smooth internet. Everything had texture to it. The glossy buttons of the Windows 7, the blue hues of the UI, and that feeling you were actually entering a different world when you logged on. This was the peak of Smosh. Anthony and Ian weren't just influencers. They were just two guys in a room with a camera and a dream of making the most random content possible. Food Battle was our Super Bowl. Every year we would wait to see this ridiculous food they choose to fight with. The celery, the pink frosted donut, it was earnest, it was silly, and it felt attainable. And then there was annoying orange. Look, we can admit it now. It was the original brain rot, but it was our brain rot. The concept was so simple, photorealistic mouths on fruit, but it worked because it was so obnoxious. It wasn't about being aesthetic or curated, it was about being loud and getting a reaction in the school hallway the next day. It was the era of
Apple! Hey Apple! Apple! Hey! What?
And honestly, I kinda miss it. It was a time when the internet didn't take itself so seriously. Before we had 100GB AAA titles that require a NASA computer to run on, we had the Flash game era. This was the filler in our daily lives. If you were in a computer lab at school, you weren't doing your essay, you were playing Run 2, Fireboy and Water Girl, Papa's Pizzeria. This era was perfect because the barrier to entry was zero. You didn't need a Steam account or a credit card. Anyone with a copy of Flash and a weird idea could make something like Happy Wheels. That game was a psychological study in 2010's chaos. It was just blood, broken physics, and a guy on a Segway trying to survive a field of harpoons. That's pretty funny actually. It was a time when game design felt lawless. You could find a masterpiece next to a total disaster on the same homepage. We spent hours exploring these sites, finding hidden gems that would disappear the moment you close the tab. You didn't need a 4090 graphics card. You just needed a browser that works and the hope that a teacher wasn't standing directly behind you. But as the sun went down, the internet got weird. The indie horror boom of the early 2010s was a lightning in a bottle moment. It started with Slender the Arrival. That faceless man in the suit proved that you didn't need $1 million budget to make people afraid of the woods. It relied on that feeling of being watched by someone that wasn't quite human. And speaking of nightmares, we have to talk about Teletubbies. This game is the purest distillation of early 2010s internet culture. Who decided to take a colorful, innocent childhood show and turn it into a screaming night vision survival game? It was shock horror in its prime. It was cheap, it was loud, and the screams were absolutely punishing. But there was something about that grainy green night vision filter that made it feel real. It tapped into a very specific kind of 2010s dread. The feeling of being hunted in a digital space that felt empty and cold. If you played this in the dark with headphones at max volume, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Then came the shift that changed everything. Five Nights at Freddy's. And I'm not gonna lie, this franchise was one of the things that actually raised me. It wasn't just a game series, it was a backdrop to my childhood. The claustrophobia of that office, managing power, and listening to the hum of that desk one. It became a core memory for an entire generation of us. There was a simplicity to it that made it feel more like a haunted VHS tape than a modern video game. You were trapped in a box, watching cameras, waiting for a movement in the dark. It wasn't about the graphics, it was about the dread. The franchise didn't just give us a game, it gave us a lore-filled world that we're still trying to fully decode today.
Try 13? Let's do this.
The real magic though was happening on this platform itself. This was the era where YouTube became a community. You had Markiplier in his early years, the genuine screams of
Don't move, 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 don't move. I didn't move. That beginning didn't count. Now you gotta look at you. Yes! Mother of God! I am the king of Five Nights at Freddy!
You felt like a friend sitting next to you on the couch. And speaking of FNAF, this was the birth of the Theorist era, fueled in massive part by MatPat. He took these scary games, turned them into global puzzle. We spent nights waiting for the new Theory upload, staring at pixels trying to find the bite of 87. Every game trailer became a treasure map, and MatPat didn't just explain the game, he helped build the community that made FNAF a titan. But then, on the darker, shady side of the platform, Hot Diggity Demon was bringing the cynicism. The Jerry series was a total fever dream. It took the wholesome world of cartoons and ran it through a wood chipper of grotesque animation and pitch black humor. Jerry was a manifestation of that early 2010s edge, twitchy, unhinged, and visually brilliant. This eventually led to the brained-up era, high-speed social commentary and surrealism that felt like a brained-up explosion of creativity. Did you get it? Did you get the pun? We can't talk about the early 2010s without talking about the block. Minecraft wasn't just a game, it was an entire infrastructure of YouTube. This was the era of Minecraft Hunger Games and the how to survive your first night tutorials. And if you really lived through this, you remember the absolute chaos of Minecon. Remember the early ones, the shaky cam footage, the awkward Q&A panels, and the literal birth of Minecraft celebrity? Everyone was obsessed with getting a Minecon cape. It was the ultimate digital status symbol. Seeing Notch on stage felt like seeing a rock star, whether it was the creeper cringe at the panels or the genuine excitement for the 1.0 release. Minecon was a heartbeat of the era. It was awkward and it was pure, but it was perfect. The early 2010s felt like a transition. We were moving from the analog world into a digital one, but we hadn't lost our souls yet. It was the era of Harlem Shake and Gangnam Style, memes that actually felt like they brought the whole world together. Everything was blue, glossy, and filled with mustache patterns. And you can't forget swag culture. It was cringe, yeah, but it was earnest cringe. We weren't trying to be brands, we were just being weird together in a world that felt like it was expanding every single day. It was a time of pure discovery where the next viral video was just one random click away. So why does it feel so perfect now? Maybe because it was the last time the internet felt like a playground instead of a shopping mall. Whether it was Sunny Tubby chasing you through the field or Hot Diggity Demon's parodies making you laugh at the absolute absurdity of it all. I still think about those old classics, his Nightmare Before Christmas parody or that really weird FNAF animation. They were these time capsules of time when creators were just making things because they could. The early 2010s were a digital renaissance. It was a messy, loud gold rush, and I feel lucky we were there for it. Thanks for waiting for me. Yeah, stay weird. See you on the next one.